Hey, welcome on in, Heat fans. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. I've been catching some playoff hoops today. I missed Knicks and Philly. I was at Heat practice, so I missed most of that. My buddy was texting me. My buddy, one of my best friends, is a Knicks fan. He loves Jalen Brunson. I think his firstborn he might give to Jalen Brunson. He might name him Jalen, and then he'll be drafted by the Dolphins probably. I did miss that. I saw that Joel Embiid. This is, I just want to say a couple things here for Joel Embiid. First of all, after his epic 50-game performance, 1 point in the fourth quarter, and then it was furious with Philly fans because the Knicks fan took over their building. He's like, isn't this supposed to be a sports town? Like, really? That Joel Embiid, I mean, he doesn't miss a postseason to throw somebody under the bus. He really doesn't. Whether that be, because it was funny, he was like, I'm not going to call anybody out, but, and, between... He's not Houston James Harden anymore. Ben Simmons, the coaching staff, the front office for letting Jimmy Butler go. Some of these are defendable gripes, but he never misses an opportunity to throw somebody under the bus. Never. Bobby Portis got kicked out of the Bucks-Pacers game for a beef with Nembhard. And Bobby Portis is legitimately one of the people in the league you don't want to screw with. I mean, he put one of his teammates in Chicago on the injury list where he punched him in practice, punched his lights out. So that was the Bucks could ill afford that, yet it happened. And then the freaking I watched all of Mavericks and Clippers, and it was like, oh, Clippers got this. They're up 30, and then the Mavs nearly came all the way back. Kyrie Irving was going crazy, and then James Harden was able to stave off humiliation, him and Paul George there at the end. So, hey, flowers for those guys, right? Everybody's like, oh, my God, here they come again with their – because here's the thing. They needed that in the worst way. Could you imagine if they blew that game? They just found out today Kawhi Leonard's going to be out. And then could you imagine if Paul George and James Harden, everybody's like, oh, could you, you can't not call them clutch for coming through. It's like, dude, they blew a 30-point lead. Like, they better not have blown that game. Otherwise, could you imagine that adding to their resume? I don't know. I thought the reaction to that was weird today. But your Miami Heat at practice today, there was a couple of other interesting notes. I talked in another video about a lot of the mental things that Miami wants to clean up. And I asked Bo, I'm like, well, how do you do that? And it's about keeping your emotions check, keeping it sharp. I do wonder though, you are seeing a lot of tempers start to boil over. Mentioned some of them there with Bobby Portis. Obviously, Joel Embiid's a cheap shot artist. He's doing everything he can against the Knicks that's dirty. Russell Westbrook, when he doesn't have Stephen A. Smith, coming after him, trying to find out if he's going to be suspended for his altercation. But we are seeing feelings get hurt. And we're starting to see feelings get a little bit, it's getting tense. And I do wonder, we saw towards the end of that ass kicking the Heat took in game 3, a little bit of frustration from Tyler Herro throwing the ball, Peyton Pritchard, Caleb Martin, little chippiness there. And Caleb was asked about that today at practice by one of the Boston reporters. And this is what he had to say on him and Pritchard.
I mean, that's just it's just us being competitive. He does a lot of stuff similar to what I do for our team, and it's just, he's one of those guys who's has that type of approach and likes to bring that that dog mentality to their team, and so it's just we just competing and just trying to get after it, and obviously being down at that point too is you get frustrated, but overall we're all just trying to do whatever we can to get our team to get a win. So.
And I saw the response from Pritchard. Pritchard talked about this at practice, too. I think the reporter's name is Bobby Manning. And he was like, he didn't find it to be hateful. He's like, it's just competitive, and he's going to, step up for his teammates and all that type of stuff. So, that's good. I got no issues with everybody going crazy about this. I'm not going to pull a Scalabrini where it's like, there's a little bit of contact, and we got to do red alert for everything, or code red for everything. But I've wondered with this rivalry for the last couple of years, one of the things that's been interesting is it really hasn't been too heated of a rivalry. You know, last year you had the Grant Williams, Jimmy Butler stare down. Grant's no longer there. Marcus Smart's no longer there. Rob Williams no longer there. But there's a lot of mutual respect, especially with Bam Adebayo being close to Jason Tatum. I think he's close with Jaylen Brown as well. And there's not a lot of like tumultuous situations. In fact, that was one of the things that Bam took some criticism for from some of the Heat fans earlier in the year when Duncan Robinson had the move where Jaylen Brown throws him into the stands and people were kind of pissed at Bam. They thought that, he should go a little bit heavier at Jaylen Brown for that situation. Even though, the smarter thing is not to pull a Bobby Portis and not get kicked out of the game because he's Bam Adebayo. You can't afford to lose him in a regular season game, can't afford to lose him in a postseason game, certainly. But I am curious about this. Tyler was asked about the physicality of the series, and this is what he had to say.
Tyler got chippy. He had that back and forth late in the game. He picked up the tech. Like, was that just a result of frustrations or physicality being down?
Just part of the game. It's competitiveness. It's all good.
Just one more off that. It seemed like there was a little bit of off-ball physicality and just trying to get free. It seemed like you were getting held a little bit in that range. Is it a little tough to kind of find your spots off the ball and trying to come off those screens in that way?
Yeah. They're doing a lot of different things. Off the ball, just holding me, holding my jersey, like doing a bunch of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's competition. It's gonna make me better. It's gonna make my team better, and I'm here for it. I'm excited. Like, we're here. Let's go. Let's keep going.
And I love the response from Tyler. It's okay to acknowledge that some things are happening that they're trying to do to make you feel uncomfortable, but also you don't want to be a whiner about it, right? Like, you don't want to be the guy who's, they're picking up my jersey and no one's really... Because look, they are being physical with Tyler. It's very clear. That's been in their 2 wins. They've been trying to disrupt him. They're trying to make him uncomfortable. They're going to do what they can because I think everybody knows that he is the most electrifying offensive player Miami has and can get hot and really the only guy outside of maybe a crazy Caleb Martin performance that could put up 30 plus for Miami, most likely. Maybe if Bam has a monster free throw game, but Tyler's the most likely candidate, and they feel like if they knock him out, you're kind of knocking out the power source that is Miami's offense. Which, look, this is what brings you to what this game is going to be. Will there be chippiness? I don't know, but I do know that Miami cannot afford another game where they feel like they're playing soft. And Bam talked about this a little bit yesterday.
I don't think we really brought that dog tonight like we did in game 2, where it was, set the tone from the jump. And we didn't do that tonight. So, obviously when you don't have that type of dog mentality, you can get blown out by 20. It's going to be a physical series. This is the Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a dog fight. And if you don't bring that dog, this is what happens. In that huddle, it was basically, just addressing, the lack of detail, letting guys run in on a free throw and get a tip-in layup. Those type of things that can't happen in the playoffs. You can get away with it in a regular season, but, possession by possession matters in the playoffs.
Can't afford another game where that dog is not picked up. You cannot. You got to choose one way or the other, dude. Are we as a team, are we the kennel? All right. Do we live in the kennel here? Because that's what they used to say. Are you in the kennel or you want to be taken care of by a crazy cat lady? You want to be taken care of by Gertrude. You want to live on like a bunch of fat cats. You want to... Because Caleb Martin said it best today. You can't pick and choose when you're a dog.
I just think, again, like I said, it just kind of starts with the tone. I think you set a certain tone with physicality and ball pressure and shooting the ball with confidence, no hesitation. I think you do that from the very, very jump. That sets a tone, and people feel that. So if you can't, you can't pick and choose when you're gonna be a dog. If you're doing that, and you're probably not, that's probably not you. You know what I mean? So we gotta be able to do that collectively as a team and have that type of feel and impact on them from the very jump.
So I don't know if there's going to be haymakers. I don't know if there's going to be pushing and shoving. I don't know what this rivalry is going to turn into. Certainly, you had the Boston media side of things caused some fabrication earlier where they tried to make Caleb Martin enemy number one because their poor baby Jason Tatum had the audacity to touch the hardwood. And now you need to know, from Miami's standpoint, they talked about the mental struggles, but bringing that physicality. I think Spo was really bothered by the fact that Boston brought the conflict to Miami from a physicality standpoint. And can Miami handle that? Those are going to be the things where if they're going to win this series or if they're going to extend this series and they're going to make this a series, they need to bring the physicality. You not only have to be mentally sharp, but you have to be physical. And Boston, killing Miami with offensive rebounds and them shooting themselves in the foot with turnover after turnover after turnover after turnover after turnover, and them just scoring on all of those is not sustainable for the Heat. It's not. So Game 4 will be interesting to see where the emotions are for each team, because you're getting to the heated part of the series where it's like this is probably going to determine where this goes and the longevity of this series. And it's when things can get a little bit testy. You're now 3 games in, and I usually, if it is going to be a competitive series, 4 is usually the one where like games can get slowed down, games can get a little bit wonky, and the possessions seem to matter even more. There's a lot of the times you'll watch these playoff series and it's kind of just decided by 3-point shooting, really. And that's the big factor in everything. And then sometimes it's just carelessness of all. But the more times you face each other, the better you know each other, the better you try and exploit some weaknesses. So I'd expect Miami definitely to bring that physicality in this next game. There's got to be also that lack of hesitation to shoot you. They got to, put them up. They got to have confidence in everybody out there. You can't allow Boston to muck things up. And we'll see if they can recalibrate and get this going. But it will be interesting to see if tempers flare a little bit in this one.